No doubt about it. I mean, I still think that at age 32, especially the way he's going to be utilized in this offense, you think about some of the Rashee Rice routes from earlier this season, I think it is an excellent fit. And remember, first of all, out of the gate, he's been injured, right? He's finally getting back to 100%. We've seen that the last couple of weeks. His efficiency, think about how bad Calvin Ridley's efficiency has been. Hopkins has been his best in years, 8.2 yards per attempt, a 71% completion rate. So even in that offense, it's struggling. And Will Levis and Mason Rudolph, obviously bottom end starting quarterbacks right now. The
nice
efficiency
way of putting it.
to Hopkins have been pretty good. Also, 2 years ago, Hopkins 9th in fantasy points per game. Last year he was 29th, but he was 15th on a per snap basis and led the NFL in Fields' favorite stat, air yards, last season. So used them all over the field. So, I think it's a huge addition for them. And I think this week, I don't think he's a lineup lock in week 1. He's probably going to play, per reports.
Yep.
You could start him if you want, but I think he's more of like a 12-team flex option here in week 1. We'll see how it goes, and then after that, he should be a weekly starter.
Yeah, a couple factors here. As I said on Twitter, when I was up early, and I'd been up for a while because I care about the game. I get up early, and because I have kids who sleep until like 6 a.m., so I'm always up at 6.
We can only look at facts here. I posted before he did.
Oh, did
social,
you? Oh,
so,
wow.
okay.
Is that true? I don't follow Mike, so I wouldn't know. That being said, if you looked at the realistic places for DeAndre Hopkins to be traded, I would say that this is as good of a spot as he could have landed in, right?
Yeah.
Like Patrick Mahomes, obviously not a fantasy star anymore, but obviously an excellent quarterback. He just resuscitated Juju Smith-Schuster for a game a couple of weeks ago. Juju going to miss at least week 8. The fact that they knew on Monday that he was definitely out for week 8 suggests to me that it could be more than just 1 week out for Juju. And while Juju had a monster game against the Saints, it was not what Mike talked about, that Rashee Rice role. A lot of that was like broken plays down the field, not like Xavier Worthy vertical shots, but intermediate passing game. The short passing game has kind of been abandoned right now for the Chiefs. Xavier Worthy, obviously a very, very fast player, just doesn't feel like this is the year in which he is going to be a high-volume target getter. The Chiefs are limiting right now the ways in which they are leaning on him. So I think DeAndre Hopkins landed in as good of a spot as he could have, right? Like, are there better, more pass-friendly offenses? Yes, but like, some of those places aren't interested in adding a receiver, or maybe if you're like, well, he could go to Buffalo, they just made their play for Amari Cooper. They're not going to make 2 wide receiver trades for 2025 draft picks in the span of 7 or 8 days. So a really good landing spot here for Amari Cooper. I don't think it changes the outlook for Patrick Mahomes, obviously. A little bit better, but not to the point where it's like, wow, Patrick Mahomes back inside our top 10. No, we are not there. I don't think it means anything for Travis Kelce. I think Travis Kelce is still one of the 5 or so most valuable tight ends. But maybe DeAndre Hopkins, in a best-case scenario, creeps inside the top 20 of wide receivers.
Yeah, agreed. And by the way, they have tried to feature Worthy the last couple of weeks. 14 targets. He has 44 yards on those plays. So it just wasn't happening, and they clearly needed an upgrade, losing, to your point, 3 receivers already this season. So, I'm with you. I just want people to remember that this is not the Chiefs offense from 2 years ago, 3 years ago, right? Mahomes isn't going to push for 40 or 50 touchdowns. It's a little bit more conservative now. They're leaning more on their defense, especially during the regular season. However, they got to feature somebody. And Rashee Rice was going to be, he might have finished, where would he be right now if he was healthy? Wide receiver 3?
Honestly, he
2?
could have QB1,
yeah,
wide receiver 1.
He absolutely could have been. So, there's no doubt that Hopkins, I don't think he'll get to that level, but certainly top 20 to your point, Field. I think it's definitely on the table.
Yeah.